Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie Yates Anya, and I'm a licensed associate. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. If you're curious about the difference between a licensed associate and a fully licensed marriage and family therapist, stay tuned. All right, guys, so I am so excited to finally share with you. A few weeks ago, my application was approved for full licensure, and I am now a fully licensed therapist. Now, some of you are going to inevitably question what that means. And so today I'm going to talk about the difference between associate licensure and full licensure. There are some differences. They're not an overwhelming amount of differences, but I get so many questions in the comments about my license. What do I mean by associate licensed? So I'm going to go ahead and just answer all of those questions today and just explain those differences. The first thing to note is that even when I get like a comment about being a licensed associate, I don't take it to heart because there are major differences amongst the states. This is an issue across the mental health fields, is that license portability and the process to licensure within the mental health field is very inconsistent. So whereas in like New York, I believe there is the concept of having a permit to practice. Some states you take your test when it's time for full licensure and you don't do that until it's that time. Some states it has like a residency like you would do with a doctor, they call it a residency. So there's a ton of different names. So I understand the confusion when people hear me say licensed associate. So in Georgia, we view it as having an associate license and then having like your full license that's non-provisional. I'm going to show you here that when I look in my portal, you'll actually see that in Georgia, it says licenses, right? So it says under there, my associate's license, and then it says my full license. I'm not going to share the numbers, but you can see that we do consider being associate licensed in Georgia a form of licensure. You just still have to practice under supervision. Whereas now, being fully licensed, I no longer have to practice under supervision. I used to have to go to group supervision as well as individual supervision, which I enjoyed doing that, but now I can practice with a little bit more autonomy. About 5 years ago, for sure, if not a little sooner, everyone's initials after their name in Georgia when you had your associate license was LAMFT for Licensed Associate Marriage and Family Therapist. Within the last 5 years, it changed to AMFT, just Associate Marriage and Family Therapist. But the process in Georgia hasn't changed. So when I was an associate, I did have a license number, but my license number started with AMFT. I got one comment before that said, basically I'm an intern. And in Georgia, the process is very different. I'm not an intern. I was an intern back when I was in school, but the process goes like this. And I do have an extended video on the process to full licensure. If you want that, I'll be sure to include that here in the cards. But just to kind of summarize that process for you. In school in Georgia, you have practicum and internship. During that time, I was an intern. For me, I was not paid to see clients during that time. And they also did not have any expectations of me seeing a certain number of clients while I was there. From the point where I was postmasters, before I even got my associate license, I was working with clients full-time. That was my full-time job. Whereas when I was an intern, the expectation is that you see maybe 8 to 10 clients a week. So it's not expected that it's your full-time job a lot of times because the pay is terrible or non-existent. For me, I was working in a low-cost clinic. I would see clients for like $25 at that time. And so being an intern was basically just about accumulating the hours you needed to graduate. And you did that absolutely under supervision. I had supervision both through my school as well as at my practicum and internship site. So that is the difference between an intern and an associate therapist. In Georgia, there is another title in between there. That's what we call a postmaster's clinician. Getting your associate licensure in Georgia is optional. There is is an option for after you graduate and before you're fully licensed, which some people opt to do. That's called being a postmaster's clinician. This is when you have your master's degree, but you don't have any licensure. And so you are practicing, but you practice without yet taking the exam. So the difference in Georgia with having your associate license instead of being a postmaster's clinician is that you have taken and passed your exam. Now, alternatively in Georgia, if you don't want to get your associate license, you can wait the full 2 to 3 years to accumulate 2,000 hours seeing clients so that you can just apply for full licensure all at once, take your exam, and if you pass, then you're fully licensed. The reason I didn't do that process is because I was very worried that after I graduated, a lot of what I learned in graduate school I might forget if I didn't go ahead and take that exam as soon after I graduated as possible. So that is why I went ahead and did that. Plus, I thought that if I did need a job, I might be more easily hired if I had my associate license. As an intern, when I was a postmaster's clinician, as an associate, for all three of those, a similarity is that they all require supervision. Whereas now that I'm fully licensed, I don't require any supervision at all. A huge difference is the insurance panels, okay? So with an associate licensed therapist, there are only a few insurance providers that you can work with. So I know as an associate, I was able to work with Kaiser and Cigna and also Medicaid. So there are a few different health insurance providers under that Medicaid umbrella. So that's the only insurance panels I was eligible to work with before. Whereas now I could work with any insurance panels, but I do have to get on those panels. So since I am so freshly licensed, I am not on every insurance panel yet. They're working to get me added to more and more insurance panels. And now I'm able and eligible to work on all of them because I am fully licensed. So that's another major difference, is that you can have more clients because you can take in clients from all different types of insurance providers. If you watched my most recent day in the life video, in that video, I talk about the additional requirements sometimes when working with clients when you are only associate licensed. So for example, if I work with clients who had Medicaid, then I would need to have a fully licensed clinician come in and verify the diagnosis that I give my clients, just to ensure that, while I'm still in this provisional phase with my license, I am clear on the diagnoses that are appropriate and accurate for each client. Now that I am fully licensed, I can actually do that for other associates. So I've already had it where there have been associates who have met with clients for the first time, Medicaid clients, they've given them a diagnosis, and then I meet with the client and I do a diagnostic verification. So this is something new that I'm doing now that I am fully licensed. Another benefit to being fully licensed is that, of course, I get a raise. So typically how it is structured within Georgia, especially within community mental health or even in private practice, payment-wise, interns may get little to no pay at all. That's my experience, was no pay. I actually had to pay for supervision as an intern. Then you have postmaster's clinicians who might get a little bit more. Then you have associate licensed therapists who might get a little bit more. And then fully licensed therapists are usually at the top when it comes to clinicians getting paid within a mental health agency or private practice. So now I'm able to have a raise. And another benefit of being fully licensed now is that I can legally open my own private practice without having to be like a subsidiary to another clinician, because in Georgia, the hours that you get in a private practice that maybe you are managing will not count towards the hours that you need to be fully licensed. And so now that I am fully licensed, I can have a private practice and not worry about which hours will count and which ones won't, or practicing under the supervision or license of a fully licensed therapist. Another thing, being fully licensed, after a certain number of years, I can apply to become a supervisor myself. So there are certain things that you can do with associate licensure that you can't do as an intern or when you are a postmaster's clinician. But as a fully licensed therapist, you are pretty much unlimited in your practice. Obviously, you still need to abide by the law and ethics, but you can be a lot more autonomous in your practice. So I have reached the final stage of licensure. I've been so excited and smiling ever since we got the news, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. And now I can answer your questions all the way through about licensure. So if you have other questions about associate licensure versus full licensure, or if you want to share what the process looks like in your state, that could be very useful for any of my viewers who might be in a state other than Georgia. You know, do you guys do permits? Are you considered registered associates? You know, there are a lot of different terms across the US, and I'm sure even more abroad. So put in the comments below what the process looks like in your state. Let's make some connections and help each other out. I hope that you found this video useful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I ask that you like it, subscribe to my channel. Be sure to turn on your post notifications so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Really appreciate you guys for sticking with me as I've been going through this full licensure process. I remember that video where I outlined how to become fully licensed. I shared in that video where I was in my journey, and so many of you were so supportive. You told me where you were in your journey. Some of you were just starting out. Some of you were also associate licensed. So if you are, you know, getting close to that finish line, I just want to send you some encouragement. You know, there's a lot of paperwork. If you guys want a video all about the paperwork aspect of this, I'll be happy to share that with you. It is a lot. I could actually show you what the documentation looks like specifically in Georgia. If you'll find that helpful, just let me know. Be sure to share this with a friend if you have anyone who's been questioning the process of becoming fully licensed as a therapist. I really appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me as I've been going through this licensure process, being so supportive, giving me words of encouragement, and letting me know your questions. Thank you again for watching all the way until the end. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.